All right, my friends, here we are. It is the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. It is Saturday, September the 27th, 2025. Let's make today a great day. How can you make your day great? It's simple. It is simple. Do you know how to make your day great? Look around, find the good, and cherish it. Look around in your life, find the things that are good, and cherish them, appreciate them in your heart, and you're going to have a good day. There's goodness all around. The trick is to find it. And then, how do you make your day even better? You perpetuate that good by giving it to others. You take the good that you have and you share it with others. You give in abundance. When we give love, when we give kindness, when we give empathy, when we give understanding, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. That's an absolute truism. I've lived it my whole life. Find the good, appreciate it, pay it forward, give love. All right, my dear friends, welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. I'll have an announcement about this show next week. But today, if you are watching this show at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. and you live in the New Jersey area, you should make your way to Weasel Brook Park in Clifton for the Passaic County Book Festival. I will be there. I will be there selling all sorts of my wonderful books. That's right. You can come and get your own copy of the greatest novel ever written, Scattering the Ashes. You can come to Weasel Brook Park today, this afternoon, September the 27th, and get a copy of the award-winning The Least Among Them. You can come to Weasel Brook Park and get a copy of Roy White's autobiography that he wrote with me, From Compton to the Bronx. You can come to Weasel Brook Park and get a copy of 365.2 Going the Distance. I'll be on a panel where we talk about writing history. I just sent the last bit of information to Sunbury Press, who will be publishing my wonderful book on the Battle of Gettysburg. And I'm starting to see the end of that tunnel. So that book obviously isn't printed yet. But if you want any of those other four titles and you are not able to get to Weasel Brook Park today and take part and listen to the wonderful panel on writing history, or to meet all of the many authors that will be there selling their wares, well, you can get any of my other books there, the ones I just showed you, at Artemisia Publishing, apbooks.net. Go to apbooks.net, and they have a plethora of outstanding award-winning books in a myriad of wonderful genres, fantastic books about almost everything. Go to apbooks.net, one of the premier independent publishers in the entire country. All right, you could also check out so much great Yankee content on startspreadingthenews.blog. We are the greatest Yankee site there possibly could be, and there possibly is. So once again, go to Weasel Brook Park today for the Passaic County Book Festival if you can get there. If you see me, say, hey, Dr. Sem. I watch the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. I watch the Start Spreading the News podcast. I read Start Spreading the News or whatever. Just say hi. I'd love to meet you. All right, my dear friends, we have so much to cover. This is the final weekend of the regular season in Major League Baseball. And, well, it's exciting. Of course it's exciting. The Yankees are tied. Who would have thunk it? The Yankees are tied for first in the American League East. They're really a game out, because if they end tied with the Toronto Blue Jays, the Blue Jays won the season series And so the Yankees, in order to really have the top seed, would have to leapfrog that one more game over the Blue Jays. A tie really means the Blue Jays win. And you just have to wonder, all those games that we complained about all summer long as the Yankees went through June and July and the first half of August, basically losing most of their games, you have to wonder if they had just done a few things differently. Or you have to wonder, how many games did they lose because they didn't have a real third baseman? Imagine if they went out real third baseman over the winter. I've made this point many times. I'm the only one who's ever made this point. I'm the only one who's ever said this. Anyone else who says it's copying me. But everybody loves to say that the baseball season is a marathon and not a sprint. Well, I've run 27 marathons. I know what a marathon is. Most people who said that or who say that have never run a marathon. They have no idea what it is, and they don't know what it's like to try to win a marathon. Spoiler alert, neither do I. I've never come close. My fastest marathon I ever ran was in Chicago in 2006, almost 20 years ago. I ran a 3:25:16. That's pretty darn good. I was fast, but I was never in contention to ever win a marathon. But the truth of the matter is, in order to win a marathon, you do have to sprint. You run hard for 26.2 miles. The winners are running, the men, sub 5-minute miles, the whole thing. That's a sprint. I don't care what you say. They don't say, hey, it's a marathon, so I'm going to run slowly for part of it. No, they don't do that. They go all out. They run hard from the minute the race starts until the minute the race ends, and that's how they end just over 2 hours every single time. You don't run a 2-hour marathon if you're not running the whole way. So many people like to say a baseball season's a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah, well, that might be the way I run a marathon. I don't sprint the whole way, though I have retired from running marathons. But when I ran them, no, I'm not fast enough and strong enough and young enough to be able to run a marathon the whole way. The average Joe doesn't run a marathon the whole way. The average Joe runs, walks a little, walks through the water stop, sees family members, gives them a hug, maybe cries a little. A lot of emotions when you run a marathon. If you're running a 4, 5, 6 hour race, you're going to go through a lot of different emotions. And when you're running a race like that, yeah, that's a baseball season for a mediocre team. You're running hard, you're playing hard, you're backing off a little, you're looking at the distance, you're saying, I can't give it everything I have for the entire distance. A baseball team might say, we can't give it everything we have for 162 games. Yeah, sure. And then you're a middle of the packer or a back of the packer. But if you want to be a champion, if you want to win the marathon, if you want to win the division, then it is a sprint. The winner doesn't take mile 17 off. The winner doesn't say, I think I'm going to back off a little here because it's really not a sprint. I'll just run a 7-minute mile and we'll see how I do. Or I'll run a 13-minute mile and then I'll pick it up again. I'll take a little off here. No. That's not what a winning marathoner does. That whole explanation of what a baseball season is, it's a marathon and not a sprint, is so wrong if you're talking about a team that wants to win. And we're talking about the Yankees and we want them to win, of course. All right, we're just having a little fun here, but my goodness, if the Yankees had had a little bit more drive, a little bit more focus, if they had addressed some of the weaknesses a little early, guess what? Maybe they would have won one more game. Then maybe they would have won 3 more games. Then they would have clinched the American League by now, and they wouldn't have had to keep the pedal to the metal all weekend to try to win the division. You see, if you back off a little in a race and you still have a chance to win because the guy who is winning backs off a little too, then you have to run even harder at the end. And that's very difficult to do. And that's what the Yankees have to do this weekend. Hopefully, they can win 3. And if the Blue Jays only win 2, the Yankees end in first place. Hopefully, if the Yankees win 2, the Blue Jays win only 1, and then the Yankees will be in first place. Or hopefully, if the Yankees win 1, the Blue Jays win none, and then the Yankees will be in first place. But if the Yankees and the Blue Jays end with the same amount of wins this weekend, they're tied. And by virtue of the tiebreaker, because the Blue Jays beat the Yankees more than the Yankees beat the Blue Jays get the division, and then the Yankees have to play in the wild card round. Now, the Yankees already clinched first home field for that wild card round, so that's a good thing. But if only they might not have had to have a stress-filled, stress-induced final weekend of the season. That's why you play hard, always. So, all right. You know, in my ear, I hear that the music is barely playing behind me. So let me just pull that down. Oh, my goodness. Kind of fun to hear the music, but let's get rid of that. I have a great article coming on Start Spreading the News this week. Another misnomer that I hear all the time is Babe Ruth wouldn't be able to play as well in today's game. The game is so different that those players back then, they would never be able to compete. So I wrote an article for the Internet Baseball Writers Association of America. It's going to be published, I believe, today. And then my articles that are published by the IBWAA, I then take and run on Start Spreading the News the next week. I'll probably have that article posted maybe Wednesday or Thursday, but keep checking Start Spreading the News. The article lists some of the many ways that the players in Babe Ruth's era actually had it a lot tougher than the players today. And I think the article is going to open many eyes because so many people say things that just don't make any sense. Like, the Babe never had to face a series of relief pitchers who all throw 100 miles an hour. Well, except that all relief pitchers don't throw 100 miles an hour. And look at most teams' bullpens. They're not very good. There's this idea that, well, the Babe couldn't have hit against today's bullpen pitchers. And then you look at most teams' bullpen pitchers and you go, yeah, but they're not very good. So you're trying to say the Babe couldn't hit against pitchers that weren't very good? And it's so much harder to hit home runs today than it was in the Babe's day. Except that if you look at a team like the Yankees, all of their biggest and greatest home run seasons have been recently. It's harder to hit home runs, except we hit more of them today than we ever did. Huh. So maybe the pitching isn't as good. Imagine that. The players today play with a brand new ball. If you're a hitter, you get to hit off a brand new baseball. Probably for 9 out of 10 pitches, it's going to be a brand new ball. They change the ball so often. In the Babe's day, did he get to see a brand new white baseball every pitch or virtually every pitch? No, he did not. They used the same ball inning after inning after inning. It got darker and darker and more hard to see throughout the game. It also got waterlogged. It got beaten into the dirt. It had the bounced out of it, banged out of it. They could still throw the spitball legally in Babe Ruth's day. Even after it was outlawed, they let the spitball pitchers remain in the game. There'd be tobacco juice on the baseball. They did not have a darkened area in center field for the hitter's eye, the hitter background. They didn't have that. You had to pick up the pitch out of the white shirts that might be sitting in center field, who are all probably smoking. So there's a haze of smoke over the field with a darkened ball without lights, even on the darkest days, and you still had to hit. Think about that. Oh, they have it so much easier. They had it so much easier back then. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But I've got 1,000,000 points, or maybe 30, or maybe 10. I don't know. I didn't count them. But that'll be on Start Spreading the News coming next week. That's going to be a fun article. By the way, I'm happy to report that I am in the Guinness Book of World Records after last week. If you watched the Start Spreading the News, you heard about this great news already. But here's the picture. That in the Lafayette shirt is my son, Ethan, who also writes for the blog. That's, of course, me in the center. And on the right there, that's my dad, lifelong Red Sox fan. Everybody knows that. The world's biggest Ted Williams fan. You could go to Start Spreading the News and type Yogi into the search engine and see what we were doing. Well, I'll tell you what we were. You can see more because we're actually mentioned in an ESPN article. We were featured, well, not necessarily featured, but our picture was present on News 12 New Jersey that day. And I believe we were in newjersey.com or another thing like that. But they're all listed. You can find them all on Start Spreading the News. Type in Yogi. We are in the Guinness Book of World Records, but not by name. We were one of thousands of people who were at Yogi Berra Stadium last week to take part in what was called Yogi's Big Catch to celebrate the year of Yogi Berra's 100th birthday. And all of those people, which we were part, together were part of the biggest game of catch in the history of forever. And so that was a world record. Ron Guidry was there, Bob Costas, Willie Randolph, Rick Cerrone. Those were the Yankee people. Ed Alstrom, my friend, who's the Yankee organist, was also there. So it was really a great event, a lot of fun. And check it out. Go to Start Spreading the News and check out all about, or just type in Yogi's Big Catch Challenge. So, yeah, we're in the Guinness Book of World Records, but obviously not by name. I brought this question up, which is a great question, I think. It was misunderstood by a reader who sometimes likes to take me out of context on the blog. But the talk became Patrick Corbin, who had one great year, helped his team, the Washington Nationals, win a World Series, and then has not been good ever since. And I posed the question, and I wonder, is it worth it if you sign a baseball player, and that baseball player, let's say you sign him to a 6-year contract, and in the first year of that contract, that baseball player helps you win a World Series, becomes a big factor in your team winning the World Series. And then for the next 5 years, that player is sort of a drain on your system. He doesn't pitch well or he doesn't hit well. An example that was brought up in the comments was DJ LeMahieu. His first couple of years as a Yankee were terrific, and then the Yankees re-signed him to 5 or 6 years. I think it was 6 years. And he wasn't really good for those 6 years. I advised against that signing from the start. I said, you got his 2 best years. Now you cut bait. You just got the best of him. Don't sign him as an aging second baseman to a long-term contract. But the Yankees did, and it didn't turn out that well. But if LeMahieu had helped them in the first year of that new contract win the World Series, would it have been worth it? If the Yankees had signed Patrick Corbin and he helped them win the World Series, would it have been worth it? And there's no right answer or wrong answer. For Yankee fans who don't have a World Series championship since 2009, I don't know, having one more banner might have been worth the next 5 years of not great pitching. I'd rather have a banner. The Yankees didn't get a banner in the meantime, so maybe that banner helps them. But Then you could make other arguments that said if the Yankees had Patrick Corbin, maybe they don't get Max Fried or they don't get Carlos Rodon or whatever. Maybe they don't get Garrett Cole. And the hope here, Garrett Cole, of course, injured, but the hope here is that Max Fried and Carlos Rodon anchor a Yankee pitching staff that dominates in the playoffs, and maybe, just maybe, the Yankees, maybe, just maybe, the Yankees will win the World Series this year. Would that be amazing? That would be amazing. And then maybe you say it's good they didn't get Patrick Corbin all those years ago, because maybe he wouldn't have helped them win the World Series. And maybe if he was still under contract, or a player like him, it's really not Patrick Corbin. We're talking about just the hypothetical. But maybe that other contract would prevent them from acquiring the players that just might help them win the World Series this year. I'm usually, really, in almost everything I do, I'm optimistic. I have a bright outlook on life, except when it comes to the Yankees. There's a defense mechanism. They've let me down so many times, especially these last, 15, 16 years, that it's hard to say, yeah, I'm going to invest in them a lot emotionally. I'm going to believe in them and get my heart broken again. But I have to say, I'm getting to the point where I believe that the 2025 Yankees just might win the World Series. I'm not predicting it. I'm getting my hopes up is what I'm doing. I'm getting my hopes up. And I don't think it really matters, to be honest, except for setting up a rotation, whether the Yankees end up in first place or not. They're in the playoffs. You have a starting two of Rodon and Max Fried. I think they have a deep bullpen, even if the bullpen hasn't been especially great. And they have a lot of very good players who've performed very well this year. A lot of surprises. Cody Bellinger's been a surprise. And if you're, oh no, everybody knew he'd be good. Just go back and look at the comments over the winter. Oh, the Yankees overpaid. It's a terrible contract. If he has a bad year, they're stuck with him. If he has a good year, he's going to leave. It was a terrible deal. Well, no one's saying that now, but a lot of people said that over the winter. I did not. I did not have any confidence in Trent Grisham, and he's had a great year. Ben Rice, the jury was out. He's had a great year. And Aaron Judge, of course, is, I'm sorry, without a doubt, the MVP of the American League. There will be an article on Start Spreading the News on Monday. And rather than me making the argument, for the last week or so, I've been collecting tweets that just show above and beyond this stat, that stat, the next stat, that Aaron Judge is the MVP. Well, Cal Raleigh, or whatever, is going to have 692 home runs. That's nice. There have been guys who've had a lot of home run titles, big home run titles, and who have not been MVP. He's going to lead the American League in home runs and RBIs and still hit about 250, if not lower. That's not the MVP. Not when Aaron Judge is going to hit over 50 home runs, which he does have, and lead the league in batting. I think that's happened only once in history. I think Mickey Mantle did it. Not when Aaron Judge has more intentional walks than any other team, I believe, in the American League. Think about that. They've walked him more. Not when Aaron Judge is beating Raleigh in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, OPS plus. It's a mismatch. Judge is the MVP. So I'm going to show all that. I'll demonstrate all that by just quoting others, showing their tweets on Monday that is scheduled to run. I think after you read that article and see all of those statistics, you can't come to any other conclusion. It's Aaron Judge. He is the MVP. And because this will now be his third and should be fourth MVP of his career, it's really time to, oh boy, I almost hate to say it. It's going to soon be time, if it's not time already, to revisit the Yankee Mount Rushmore. It's always been Gehrig, Ruth, DiMaggio, Mantle. Not necessarily in that order, but those have been the four most iconic, greatest Yankees. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, and Mickey Mantle. And Aaron Judge has been so good. So good. Now, for so long, and those statistics can also be found in that article, at least some of them, that it's going to be time to start thinking that he might be one of the four greatest Yankees of all time. It's crazy to think that. Mantle, DiMaggio, Gehrig, Ruth are some of the greatest names in baseball history. They're inner circle Hall of Famers. They're the best of the best of the best. And Aaron Judge is really close to joining them. That's how great Aaron Judge has been. What a delight it is to watch this career in front of our own eyes every day. Oh my goodness. It's great. And so we're going to have to start thinking about that. Is Aaron Judge one of the greatest Yankees of all time? The one problem with the Judge argument, if we were talking about the Kansas City Royals or the Milwaukee Brewers or the California Angels, whatever they're called now, or the San Diego Padres or the Florida Marlins or the New York Mets, maybe you just look at lifetime WAR. Maybe you just look at lifetime home run totals. Maybe you just look at lifetime batting average. Maybe you look at lifetime OPS plus. Maybe you look at lifetime slugging percentage or on base percentage or any of those things. And you say, yeah, he's one of the four best. He's up there as one of the top four in 10 out of 15 categories. You have to consider him one of the top four Yankee hitters of all time. One of the four greatest Yankees ever. Maybe. But Judge does not yet have a ring. Aaron Judge, well, I have my wedding ring, but as far as World Series rings, Aaron Judge has as many as I do. And if you're talking about the history of the Yankees, who are defined by greatness, who are defined by excellence, who are defined by world championships, the one thing, no matter what his numbers say, that's going to hurt Judge's chances to get on that imaginary Mount Rushmore with those greats is the fact that he's never been a world champion. Now, should he be this year? That's going to be another mark in his favor. Next year, can you imagine this? If Garrett Cole comes back, and we'll talk a lot about this over the winter, but if he can come back and be any semblance of himself, you got Cole, Fried, Rodon. Those are your top three in your rotation? Oh, my. I mean, they could win it again next year. Oh, man. Optimism running wild. I sure hope the Yankees don't break my heart. I'm getting excited for this postseason. Anything can happen. And I just have this feeling that this year, anything might be everything good might happen for the Yankees. All right, my friends, that'll be all for today. This has been the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. Go out, do something nice for somebody else. Look at the good things in your life and appreciate them. In fact, say thank you for them. Give gratitude. Demonstrate gratitude. Let other people know that you appreciate all the good things they do and have done for you. You want to appreciate your life? Want to make your day great? Show gratitude. Show appreciation. Cherish the good. My dear friends, have yourselves a wonderful Saturday. If you're around on this day, the 27th, Clifton, Weasel Brook Park, the Passaic County Book Festival. It's always great. There's a million, 25. There's a million authors there with gazillions of books. Maybe it's 25 authors with 75 books. I don't know. But it's nice. It's really a great event. There's some food trucks every year. And I think there's a table with free books from local libraries. The authors, everyone I meet there, including my good friend Louis Pacone, who's a great author. You want to buy his books. They're all just wonderful people to talk with and be around with and engage with. Have a great day, and I'll see you Monday night on the Start Spreading the News program.